Okay. Avtar Meher Baba ki Jai. Lovely to see everyone. So today we are going to share and discuss on something so important in the entire living ministry of Baba's lifetime, and that is service. And though mastery in servitude is a very, very far fetched lifetimes we may take to reach that quote, but all we can do is our tiny efforts in Baba's love to please Him and make Him happy of our existence to be of service in whichever way He wants. So, this conversation today is to share that often, most of the times earlier myself, when we think that what can I do? We have our own limitations that we impose on ourselves. We think I'm just somebody and I'm just doing my work and I just have so much of work and this and that. And we have so many impositions that we keep on ourselves, I feel, because I've kept them as well on myself earlier in life, and not realizing the power of one. And when it comes to that power of one which is existing in many, it just becomes, you know, limitless just with the thought of it, of what Baba can do through each of us. So
Absolutely.
today, Angela and I thought that we could just share on, and in general, what each of us could do to infuse service into our everyday life, just around us in day to day living, and share things that we have been doing through our NGO for COVID and otherwise also. The birthing of seeds of love that Baba keeps, nudging us with through the process. So we thought that we would begin this session with a little Baba Naam Jaap, and invite Baba to be with us and plant those ideas of service that we could put into action in our lives in any which ways. Most of us would be doing that in some way or the other, and even if we are not, we could just make a new beginning anytime. There is never too late for good things to begin. So we could all be unmuted, no problem, and just collectively say Meher Baba for a few minutes, maybe 2, 3 minutes, whatever, and then just nudge to close it and say Avtar Meher Baba ki Jai 3 times, and then we can begin our discussion. Jai Baba. We could all just say Meher Baba together. You can unmute if you wish to. Meher
Meherabad.
Baba,
Meherabad.
Meher Baba. Meher
Meherabad.
Baba, Meher
Meherabad.
Baba, Meher Baba,
Meher,
Meher
meher,
Baba,
meher,
Meher
meher, baba,
Baba,
baba.
Meher
Meher,
Baba,
meher, baba, meher,
Meher
meher,
Baba,
baba, meher, meher, baba,
Meher Baba,
meher,
Meher Baba,
baba, meher, meher,
Meher
baba,
Baba,
meher, meher,
Meher
baba, meher,
Baba,
baba.
Meher
Meher
Baba,
Baba, Meher
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 Baba, Meher Baba, Meher Baba,
Meher Baba,
Meher Baba,
Baba,
Meher
Meher Meher
Baba,
Baba,
Meher Baba,
Meher Baba,
Meher Baba, Meher Baba,
Baba,
Meher Baba,
Meher Baba,
Meher Baba,
Baba,
Meher Baba,
Meher
Meher
Baba,
Baba,
Meher Baba,
Meher Baba,
Baba,
Meher Baba,
Baba, Meher Baba,
Meher Baba,
Meher
Meher Baba,
Baba,
Meher Baba,
Meher
Meher
Baba,
Baba,
Baba, Meher
Meher Baba, Meher Baba,
Baba,
Meher Baba,
Meher Baba,
Meher Baba,
Meher,
Meher Baba,
Meher,
Meher Baba. Last time. Meher Baba.
Meher Baba,
अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय. अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय. अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय. We begin in Baba's love. Has Angela come in? No, I don't.
Not yet.
Ah, okay.
Baba,
All
Meher,
right. So
Meher
we'll
Baba.
begin with a few words from beloved Baba. No amount of prayer or meditation can do what helping others can do. One of the most difficult things to learn is to render service without bossing, without making a fuss about it, and without any consciousness of high and low. In the world of spirituality, humility counts at least as much as utility. Another quote of what Baba has to say about service. I will read it out, a short quote. Selfless service is unaffected by results. It is of vital importance, however, that service, though utterly selfless, be guided by spiritual understanding, or even selfless service unintelligently handled often creates complications and chaos. To be a pure blessing to humanity, the most selfless act of service must be born of absolute understanding of life and governed by faultless wisdom. As Baba also says, the best way to cleanse the heart and prepare for the stilling of the mind is to lead a normal worldly life. Living in the midst of your day to day duties, responsibilities, likes, dislikes, etc., will help you. All these become the very means for the purification of your heart. And with this thought, it was that Baba has left so many words for us through all the painstaking literature that he has left behind. Every time that I am happening to read from Baba's books, one thought consistently comes to me of Baba gesturing and the mandali kind of noting it down. And Baba's words or language or expression is not just simple and colloquial as we speak. And it just kind of boggles my mind every time to think the pains that Baba took as the avatar to gesture those words and grace the mandali to actually interpret the language in which he has left these words behind for us. And what would it be for the avatar to grace the Manli to note down these words and then going through it and editing it and keeping it as is of what he truly wants to leave behind for all of humanity? And that pain itself just always gets to me. And I would always feel that we read so much, we have influx of internet, this, that, everything, but how good it is if I can put even 0.1% of any of those Baba's words into my daily life. And that's where the uh, birth of doing something more than just surviving in life came about. And yes, Rosalie, you want to share something? Please.
Yeah, I have a funny story about service. I went up to Meherabad to see Agnes, to visit her. I think it was the first time. And I was with Meherji Karkaria's sister-in-law, Khorshid. She was a medical doctor, Khorshid, and a Baba lover. Actually, Baba invited her to be with him. but she wanted to see the world. She says, "No, Baba, I need to travel the world." And she did. So, we have our choice. But at any rate, we were with Agnes before the place burned down. Eventually, that place burned down, but she she was saying, she says, now I was coming as a Baba lover from Los Angeles. So Agnes says, people in Los Angeles don't know what service is. And I says, well, Agnes, service can be getting out of the bed in the morning on the right side of the bed cheerfully. And she said, will you shut up? And I tell you, it was like fire. My mouth dropped open, and she was like a wildflower. She ran out of the room, and Khorshid, who was the same age as Agnes. Agnes was up there in her 80s somehow. And Khorshid says, don't upset her. She's too old to change her ways. And it was funny, but then after Agnes came back and she told me, she says, you could come back and visit to me. So, it's like everyone has their idea of service. And that is a service when you have a smile on your face.
True.
Anyway.
True. Thank you so much, Rosalie.
She was very into service.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Yes, and in all the seriousness of all the work, Baba throws in humor at every level, at every step. And that's the uniqueness of our beloved avatar. So I'll read something on Mastery in Servitude by Charles Haynes from Beloved Baba's life and work. Meher Baba's life of love and service was symbolic of the inner work of awakening he came to accomplish. Baba has explained that every action of the avatar, who is one with all, has a profound impact on all life. As a rule, each action of an ordinary person is motivated by a solitary aim, serving a solitary purpose. It can hit only one target at a time and bring about one specific result. But with the avatar, he being the center of each one, any single action of his on the gross plane brings about a network of diverse results for people and objects everywhere. According to Baba, God periodically brings about a forward movement of consciousness by personal participation in the world as the avatar. His every action has a universal impact. When, for example, Baba cared for the untouchable boys and cleaned their latrines, he indicated that he was working in human consciousness to break down the caste system. For Baba, his many hours bowing down to the feet of the poor and lepers, distributing cloth and grain, were not simply acts of charity benefiting a few. They were acts initiating inner changes that will eventually benefit the poor and helpless everywhere. Similarly, gathering disciples from many races and religions and travels throughout the world symbolize the inner transformations that characterize the avatar's universal work. From this perspective, Baba's simplest action could be interpreted to be of great import for the world. This can be illustrated by citing an incident that occurred during Baba's 1952 visit to Meher Spiritual Center in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. On the day Baba opened the center to the public, a large number of people came from the town to meet him, entering the room individually or in family groups, and then leaving by another door. The monthly present noticed that whenever a black person or family entered the room, Baba, in an unusual gesture, stood and walked across the room to greet them. Baba did not explain this or similar gestures, but many around him felt that this action was an outer sign of Baba's inner work on behalf of American blacks, work that has been manifested in the American civil rights movement. Baba indicated that by working with a few representative people, he was working for large segments of the world's population. For this reason, it was crucial for him to have around him people of diverse personality types, nationalities, races, and religions. He brought together, for example, Eastern and Western women to live in his ashram. As one observer has expressed it, he appeared to be working through these women to reshape the role of women for the future. He was sowing the seeds of a unity between East and West. He was stressing the importance of women for the coming age, and he was helping to develop a pattern of what kind of woman she would be. One in whom the talent, the energy, and practical capacity of the Westerners would be blended with the devotion and spirituality of the women Mandli. I'll read the rest a little later. And how beautifully we are seeing this come true with all of us, also, of course, in physical form during Baba's time. But today, with what Baba has done through the Baba Zoom platform, and all of us coming together from East and the West and working towards one vision of just being in Baba's love and together doing whatever we can. The very platform of Baba Zoom is service, is what I feel, because it has served the beloved's cause of bringing us all together from diverse parts of the world in these myriad colors of love and coming together to sing and read and perform and be in each other's company through beloved's love, and how beautiful that could be. Please feel free to put up your hand if you want to share something about service, you want to interrupt and say something that you quickly remember about service or Baba's words, and it could make it more interesting and interactive to hear from others as well. And then during the COVID times, Angela came up with this inner feeling of wanting to do. I'm using my words through what I understand of what happened, of just being a bridge through the fundraising platform of GoFundMe that she created. And it was completely out of the blue that she came up with it. And that out of the blue is Beloved's nudge, is Beloved's love. And again, there are so many times right through these, few years of infancy in Baba's love. There are many times that I have myself been, kind of shut down or have seen others being shut down on this thing of Baba's nudging us, or this intuition where we feel Baba is strongly speaking to us. And I've always felt that, Baba said he deals with each one of us through our own melodies. So, who are we to judge how Baba communicates with any of us, and what kind of nudges he gives, and how he speaks, through what medium he speaks, through what ways he speaks? And it reminded me of this one little part of a story where one of the pilgrims is asking Eraj that Baba keeps saying, I don't do miracles and this and that, but every time I come to Meherabad, I hear someone saying, oh, Baba did this for me, and Baba did that, and this person got well, and that one got a job, and I'm so thankful. And Eraj, words to effect, tells him that Baba repeats this part, that Baba deals with everyone according to their own melody, and that just as children, when we are kids, we want toffees and chocolates and things like that, and then when we mature, those things don't interest us anymore. So when we come as kids in Baba's love, he might give us those toffees and chocolates, and things may happen, and we say, oh Baba, thank you for this miracle, and so on. And then as we mature in his love, these things don't matter, and Baba has his own ways to teach us, to keep away from them, not indulge in them, not expect the miracles, not expect the toffees and chocolates of his love, and so on. So gave rise to this very sweet Hindi statement, which is, अर्जी हमारी, मर्जी आपकी. So arzi is seeking, requesting, and marzi is my wish. So seeking or request can be ours, but the wish is yours, whether to give it, when to give it, if to give it, how to give it. And that created a lot of settling feeling within me, that all right, one does not need to listen to the noise from everywhere, and baba has his own ways, and if I strongly feel baba is telling me something to do, that's it. And there's nothing and no one to answer besides baba himself. And that's how little things about doing things in his love started. And it began, say for example, doing the satsangs at our home, and it was 11 years back, that just one fine day, that to gather people in my house, and we would all sing his bhajans and things like that, and say, oh, I don't know any baba lover who would come to my house for singing baba bhajans, because I was just a little newbie. And yet with two three of my friends and stuff like that, we just started meeting once a month and reading from baba, new baba books that I had just bought with all excitement that time. And it began and grew organically to today, almost 20 to 35, 40, and sometimes even 60 people on larger sessions, when we have a baba birthday gathering or a navroz gathering or anything of that sort. And realized when baba said that I do my own work to effect, and that when we are doing anything, when we are so called serving, or the doing part is there, it is him doing it, and we are serving ourselves, as baba said. And we are not serving him, we are not obliging anyone. Yes, Diana, you want to share something?
Actually, I wanted to ask you a question, about your own work in service, because when we feel called to serve, there are two main avenues I think we can take. We can join up with an organization that where we feel we can express our values because um, you know, they're close to the values of that organization, and then we get some satisfaction from supporting them in whatever way we can. But the other is to start something ourselves, and I've not had that experience, but I believe you have, because during the early time of the pandemic, I believe you were involved in a food sharing program, and I got the impression that you started that. Am I right about that? And if so, I'd like to know about the steps. I mean, you said the first step is to feel Baba telling you or calling you to do it. That's step number one. But how did you follow through on that in a when I say practical sense, day by day? How did you bring that into fruition?
Sure, sure. So right from my school time, I had this very strong connection with my teachers. And right from about class 3, I used to make these painted, hand painted greeting cards for my teachers on Teachers' Day. And right through passing school, and about 11 years or 12 years of passing school, I still did that with all the teachers who were alive. And especially after leaving school, I always felt, because some of my teachers were in very not so good shape, I wouldn't like to use any harsh words on the aspect of the financial conditions, but I felt that these very people made us worth earn lakhs and thousands. And in India, teachers have a very, very meager, almost dilapidated salaries that they worked in earlier. And I thought, oh my God, like, can there be something done where, and they wouldn't, like, if you extend help also, they would not help because you're a student, and they would feel embarrassed if I would extend help and stuff like that. And I always thought, if I go beyond being an individual and I become an organization at some point of time in life, then maybe it wouldn't be so embarrassing for them to take help, and there would be several others who would be there in similar conditions across other schools. And if we could support them in the twilight of their life and be there for them, it would be so great. So the thought first was just born to do something for my teachers. And then in 2013, I came to Baba in 2010. And in 2013, a very, very dear, out of all the dear teachers, one very, very close teacher moved on. And I had, so earlier I used to be the alumni president as well, and often did things for fundraising for the school and stuff like that. So we created this meet in memoriam of our teacher, and we did a little meditation. We did little talks of each student coming and talking about her. And that very morning, before I was leaving for school, I just had this very, very strong thing within me that this is the birth of you becoming an organization and not remaining an individual. And Meher Roshni Foundation, because that Bhauji had already given me the name in 2012, and I was very spiritually connected with it. As he had said, you will use this for the rest of your life. And for me, it was Baba's gift. And when that came, I just almost instantaneously, without knowing any details, said, okay, today there is the birth of Meher Roshni Foundation. I didn't know what steps, I didn't know what I had to do or anything. But when we finished our talk and all of that, I just announced it there at the school that I'm birthing this foundation and we'll do something big on education, on teachers, and for overall empowerment of humanity. And I didn't want to be stuck. So we'll see so many other organizations which are linear. So a linear organization means they are doing only for education, or they are doing only for medicals and so on. And I thought that I didn't want to have limitations, and I wanted Baba to work through us for whatever he wants in whichever way to help humanity. And therefore we in my mind I chartered that we will do everything that empowers humanity in whichever way. And the second very important thought was that India, especially, we know that poverty is at a heightened space, and there are so many mouths to feed, and it's not possible for any organization to touch every life. And I said, in my little capacity, I would want to be an organization which teaches them fishing and not just provides fish all the time. So, vocational skill bank building, besides helping humanity, was the second biggest pillar for my thoughts of what Baba just gifted while I was just sitting with myself and writing down what to do, Baba. What do you want me to move ahead with? And then came everybody pounding down of how much it costs to start an organization. And they said, oh, you must register it and it will cost about 1.5 lakh with a CA firm and all. I said, oh my God, I don't have all this money. And I stalled it for a few days, and then it was, Baba, just because I don't have money to start an organization doesn't mean good work should stop. So how do I do it? And then it birthed from just sharing the idea with some of our meditation students and my work clients and all, that I want to do this, and I want to do something for the slum kids to begin with, who are in very deprived conditions in Mumbai, and some of them are destitute, some of them, most of them, beg on the streets due to their financial conditions and parents pushing them. So that's where it began. And I started connecting with they are called the balwadis. So there are a lot of big organizations which are there, and I thought I don't want to, because they are all marketing savvy people and they get these big funds and all of that. I want to find out the real core, the grassroots people who don't get things, and then provide for them and become like a marriage bureau between people who want to do genuine charity and meet the needs of the people who genuinely need it and are not getting it. So that's where it was birthed, and we started doing individual work. So I started telling all my students and people, okay, if we don't have an organization, if you're not bothered about the income tax return rebate and this and that, then we can just contribute and create an event for the slum kids, and whoever wants to put in cash or kind, these are the items we need. You want to buy this, go and buy this. And the third level which Baba guided, which stepped in over here, is to move away from mindless charity to mindful charity. So, mindless charity to me, what came to me while I sat with Baba and praying to him, was just to, I've done it myself. I'm sitting on the plane and the air hostess comes. please could you donate to UNICEF or cry and so, and I've put in something in the envelope. Yes, because I've not been able to personally do something, I've put in that money and gone. I don't know what has happened with it, or I'm not in touch with cry to know what is happening. And that's where it came, that many people think that charity is just about money. But no, charity is not just about money. So I started with, how do I enthuse people to give their talent, to give their time, to give their gifts, to give their contacts, to give their connects, to give their ideas, and create mindful charity and merge these two, because of course finances are important, money, energy is important to do all the good work, and we utilize that for all that is required in the tangible world to be bought or created. But there is a large amount of things that we can do without it as well. So, right from the rickshaw driver to a poor massage lady to others who watchmen to this and that, we said, how do I enthuse each one to become an ambassador for mindful charity and help them to do their bit? And that's how we came up with our annual happiness event, first in December 2013, for 200 slum kids. And we started doing it at a film school where I was teaching earlier during my film career. And the president, the owners, they are also very close as a family, because I've worked with them for almost 16 years out of my 23 years in media. And they very kindly stepped forward to sponsor the event, give us the entire campus. And it was like a gala day spent for all these slum kids. And we had someone become the Santa Claus, we had a magic show, we had an educational workshop, and so on. And that's how it started in 2013. And we did a couple of activities. I will go through with the activities that the big activities at least that we did. And then came the COVID time. Now, when the COVID time struck, I'd just come from Meherabad after the Amar Tithi volunteering, and nick in time, Baba had my knee surgery done just before the lockdown was called for. And all are those slum kids and everyone that we have been working with, and we have been working with their parents through the years as well. So we do vocational workshops like tie and dye, stitching and sewing, beautician workshop, and so on for the women folk, and some others for the men folk as well, which gives them entrepreneurship. We teach them basic calculations, we teach them basic banking, we got them to open bank accounts, and so on. So they came up with that, we've lost jobs. We don't have, there most of them were frontline workers like cleaners and, municipality workers and all. And that's where it was that, okay, let us start with a small thing. We didn't have many funds. We still don't have things like the FCRA and all. So we had just few friends and patrons who were donating, and that was actually the second year of us being even registered, rather the first year of us being registered as an organization. So in 2018, a friend of mine joined up and said he would help in the professional fees required to set up the organization. And then we approached with our CA and everyone and formed the organization, thereafter being registered under the Charity Commissioner of the Maharashtra Public Trust Act, which is the MPT Act of 1950, which was earlier called the Bombay Trust Act as the BPT. And that's when we started taking official donations from our Indian family, friends, and patrons and well-wishers. So from the funds that we had gathered, it was very small, and we stepped up to create. So I constantly, Diana, also what was important is to constantly keep myself updated with what other organizations are doing, so that I can see where is the gap, what is not happening, rather than doubling up something and resources going in same thing and overriding it. So I started noting down the gaps in things that we could do and where we could actually leverage our strengths. And thereby, in creating, we know that there are crowdfunding platforms. So Milap is an Indian platform, just like GoFundMe, on which we created a special page. I will just share over here. One second. Okay, so I'm just trying to, sorry, go to our direct page of the fundraiser. In the meanwhile, please, if anybody wants to share something, please unmute and share. Rosalie, I saw your hand up. You wanted to share something more? Okay, we got it. All right. Apologies. Okay. So this is the Milap page. We started this, and you have to keep updating. You have to put in the bills of what you have done and stuff like that. So we started supporting, so we had about 700 plus families that we worked with through these slums. So we started supporting them through ration supply, and I'll just go through through the so we had them support with the ration supply to these daily wage families. Then we had medical support as well through medical medicine buying, to doctors fees or hospitalization fees if any of them contracted COVID and so on. And we went on till next year May, when we started supporting three small village hospitals, which was created by a known doctor. He's an oncologist, and through a support of a couple of doctor friends, they started taking these old dilapidated structures of government hospitals and turned them into COVID centers. They are in Maharashtra, a place called Ratnagiri, a Khed district, which is the village. And over there, we started supplying them oxygen concentrators, BiPAP machines, oxygen cylinders, PPE kits, N95 masks, hospital gloves, sanitizers, and a whole lot of other things as well. So this was with the ration that we supplied to our slum friends. Then we also started, now what we saw that many people needed the most authentic numbers to get through with oxygen suppliers, to get through hospitals or ambulances and all, which was not available. And many a times we were getting wrong numbers and fake forwards that went on. So we started something called the MRF Cove Care Helpline. And again, through my past students and all of that, we created a 25 through my film school and my other friends who came as volunteers. We had this number which was taken and bought. So we paid an amount to this service provider for 6 months, IVR based MRF Cove Care Helpline, where people would get authentic numbers of suppliers across 23 cities in India. And from tiffin supplies to all deliveries, to groceries, to hospitals, to ambulances. So we had this whole master spreadsheet which another friend of mine along with me created and helped. She lives in Egypt, and she's the wife of a childhood friend. And she stepped in to create with me this entire master spreadsheet, which was given to all the volunteers, where we created all the categories and then wrote down, for each category what was required and which locality. These were individual medicine supplies to some of our slum friends who needed it. Someone was going through cancer, somebody is going through asthma, somebody is going through epilepsy, most of them are going through tobacco, related, lifestyle related diseases. So every 4 months ration we would help them stack, because it wasn't easy to have vehicles run about in COVID, so we could not do it like very often. So we would order an approximation of how they utilize with the number of family members they have, and thereafter supply to them these large kits which would stack them up for 3-4 months. And tempos would go with our volunteers to the slums of giving them right in the home. So these kind of things we would make the list. So all the heads of the Balwadi, like there is Prayas, which are we another this Balwadi organization who we work with. So they volunteers would tell us that what are the things that they usually eat. So according to that, we would make a list of the grocery that would go into that entire ration bag for them, and we would buy all of these. Then these were the medicines that were required. This requisition came from the hospitals that we were supporting, so they would give us the requisition. It's not that we would be able to meet up. These were the individual ones from the slums. So we would get these kind of prescriptions of what each one is going through, and almost about 25-30 of them regularly were helped, to some families in Delhi and all, which were helped as well. This was the hospital list of PPE kits. Like if you see 5,000 PPE kits, masks. So say at one time we sufficed with sending 1,000 of one category, and then had other organizations also support the same, because with the kind of funds that we had, of course we were not able to meet all of them, but this was the total requisition and we tried to meet the maximum of what we could, and it is still ongoing. Recently on 27th of March we gave 3 new oxygen concentrators as well. This is our website. So in 2013 itself, when I just birthed the organization in my mind, this is the new website, but I had created the preliminary website structure and put up all the content which is still there, and just created it so that people can go and see what work we are doing. And these are all the pictures of our work across these years. So besides the COVID aspect, so we have something called the S3 initiatives. So S3 initiatives, what I was talking before, that you move away from simple mindless charity of just giving money and not knowing anything about it, to having somebody who tells you things about it. And under the S3 initiatives, which stands for Social Service for the Soul, that when you are doing something, you are not obliging anyone. You are doing it for yourself. Because when you think of giving, the first thought of happiness comes to you. Then it makes the other person happy. And that's where it was born, that there is no giver without a receiver. And I would share with our friends that imagine you taking 50 packs of dal khichdi, which is a very common food item loved by all, to the streets to give people, the pavement dwellers. And imagine that now there is no poor person on the street. Nobody is poor in our country. What is the feeling you will come back with all those packets? You will not be first happy that there is no poor person. You will be first sad that you could not give. And that's how human nature is built in. And that is why spiritually, the receiver is at a greater end than the giver. And unless and until I felt Baba wants to grace you to give, you may have like trillions in your bank account and in your pockets. But unless Baba has to grace you to be the giver, for being the receiver that he is in every of this child or whoever that we are giving, Only then can we be able to even give or expend that 1 rupee out from our life. So these are the 5 pillars we started working with. And this is this is all out of what I felt from deep within as his voice of guidance, intuition. And I would like to read Baba's quote before I say more on this. So, one second. Okay. I'm never silent. I speak eternally. The voice that is heard deep within the soul is my voice, that of guidance, intuition, and inspiration. Those receptive to this voice, I speak. But then, as I said earlier, most of the people would run down the intuition part of it and run down, oh, no, 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 like, this person is doing on their own and what Baba speaks or Baba tells or Baba guides. I said, okay, no problem. Until this wonderful book of Don Stevens landed in my hand one day on the gift of intuition. It's called Meher Baba's Gift of Intuition. And the back cover says, where Don Stevens writes, the first time I ever heard that the avatar in each of his incarnation gives humanity an avataric gift was sometime in the 1960s, when I was sitting in Mandli Hall with a small group of, I believe, principally resident Mandli. Meher Baba commented simply that his avataric gift to humanity in this incarnation was that of intuition, as that of Jesus Christ had been love. And this quote and this book put to rest a lot of noise from my life. And I said, I don't have to listen to anything that anybody is saying and just try to pray to Baba to help me listen to his voice and be receptive to his voice of whatever he wants to do. And so then was born that we will work on education and medical. And even between the two, medical precedes the work that we do, because I believe that if there is no health, and I've seen that with my life death situation where my life completely wiped out before I met Baba, and it was Baba all along with me even then without knowing him. But lying on that bed and not knowing if I would get back and when I would get back, and completely going ground zero financially to everything, and almost Baba resurrecting the destruction of the old and the beginning of the new. That if there is no health, nobody can study, nobody can work, nobody can do nothing. And that through our organization, we will give preference from whatever funds that we have first to medicine, to medical support, because the poor people dread to fall sick. We did free medical camps where people did not want to come. So I said, let's do research why they don't want to come. And we went on to talk in the slums and all, and they were petrified that no, I don't want to do a medical checkup. What if I get something, but I don't have the money to do anything about it? And then we said, okay, let's close the circle. Let's find people who will support the treatment and who will sponsor the treatment. So we started talking to a couple of doctors and hospitals who started supporting a few of them. And one big cancer camp that we did was supported by an organization in Pune who took up all the 15 people out of the 500 who were detected with active cancer, and some who were on the borderline of beginning stages on lifestyle changes that they needed to bring, or medicine or anything, including surgeries and chemotherapy and all of that. And that was the first step in closing the circle, that medical things, whatever that we need to do, would need to be of closing the circle. So with the education, we started tying up with people who wanted to support education. And we have individual children who are supported and sponsored, where the people who are sponsoring gets their updates, gets their reports. They get to, if they're not in the city, then they get to do a video call with the kids, or they get to meet if they are in the city, and I make sure that they go and meet at the school or the orphanage or the slums that the kids are from. Then the vocational skill bank. Then pledge your occasion was another thing. Like, again, it was a personal thing, and I would love giving these batata vadas and all to people on my birthday. And I said that let's make it, let people pledge their occasions to spend time with these people. And all my students or whoever else, again, everything was among the family of friends and well wishers around me. And we said, okay, if you want to celebrate your anniversary or your birthday or your child's birthday, let me know, irrespective of the budget. You have only 2000 rupees in your hand, no problem, I'll buy 30 sandwiches out of that from the roadside sandwich guy and make it happen. So we didn't keep any limitations even to donors. Whatever that you can give your time, come over. And each one then, through these pictures that you see, for example, like this is a celebration of this girl, her kid's birthday, and I find the place, find the resources of all the food items and things. So I have vendors who we know and are sure of with the quality of food to everything. So I run everything under the nose to make sure that nothing is left on, arbitrarily, kind of a thing. This was a school program in the slums. This was again with Prayas, who does things. 3-day summer camp we do where these almost 200 kids meet. And we have programs like a Zumba class, this class, and other educational programs are done through the 2 days with them as well. Then on Women's Day, we had this where we made packets of saris and bangles and bindis and things like that for the slum women and frontline working women like maids and so on, and distributed about 150 of these packets to the poor women. So what I felt was that we all cannot do everything, but all of us can do something. And we can begin with what I can do. It's not important to go far-fetched, oh, can I support CRY or UNICEF or us or anything. I tell my students, see, can you support your maid's child? Can you support your driver's child? Can you know how she's commuting to your house every day and help her if she's walking up and say, okay, why don't you take a bus and I will give you extra to come by the bus rather than walking? So it depends. It's just to open our heart, eyes, and ears to see around us, and we will find that somebody needs our service in whichever form. And that's how we organically grew to each one of these students and friends also doing something at their end further on, and moving with it. Then in right now March 2012, so it actually started, the seed started last year in September, sometime August, September. We were doing 7 realities meditations, and Caroline, who is here with us, was there as well with the UK group that she joined every month. And we started exploring things of I always wanted to do something in Meherabad, and again, I did it as an individual. Whenever I came, I would get packs of ration from Mumbai, and very kindly Raj Kalchuri and Mehernath ji was always there to support things. And yes, it for me it was, and that's what I wrote in my everywhere that we write in our newsletters and things, that charity begins at home, and that home is first the self, and then the next home was the abode of the beloved. And there was this thought always of doing something beyond the individual self in Meherabad. And that's where Baba made Caroline step in, and she says, I'm planning to return to India, and what about me doing something in Meherabad for your foundation? And I said, oh, brilliant, that would be great if we could do that. And no shortly did we start talking, we had another dear Baba lover, which is Jessie, who got on to the bandwagon of love. And Baba got us 3 together to discuss the possibilities of them coming back to India as honorary heads of rural projects to do things in Meherabad. And that's where the seeds of the things that we started in Meherabad happened. And then in March, by the time they came in December, January, and work discussions were on. And Jesse had similar vision for schooling kind of a thing for the kids and so on. And with my passion for the teaching and the kids and to empower them, just with this thought that if we empower kids with education and elders with vocation, then we can create empowered citizens. So we had this birthing of the Meher Baba's Children's Center in Meherabad, and I will share a few things on that. Uh, just take down. This is just a PDF of all our activities through the years. This is our regular stationery donation and all to street schools, to orphanages, to destitute schools, and so on. These are street schools in Mumbai, which are there in our suburbs around my home. Then these are our annual happiness events. So Whistling Woods International is the film school that I taught, and they are our kind patrons for various other sponsorships, also for educational scholarships and all. This was a slum school that I went twice a month for some years to teach the kids. So the penchant to be with kids, I love kids, and to teach them to just be in their energy is such an amazing feeling. This is our Pledge Your Occasion event that I was talking about. This is the summer camp that we run with those activities and all. This again is another birthday party and workshop. So we always give them takeaway gifts, are educational gifts, bags, school bags, school shoes, to school uniforms, and coloring books or educational games and so on. It's a full day spent from 11 o'clock in the morning, ending with a film in the end in the evening. Then we made them participate in a cyclothon on the importance of, a carbon-free world where fume pollution is one of the biggest climate, problems as well. We gifted 2 cycles to poor kids who would cycle every day for long distance to their schools, and we gave them 2 bikes. These are some other slum dwelling. Then on Women's Day, we encouraged our friends. So a friend of mine who has a salon was doing donate your hair for the cancer patients. So they make wigs for cancer patients and give out. And we had this Women's Donation Day where all our friends and WhatsApp groups and everyone through Facebook and social media was asked to go for hair donation. Of whoever wishes to do that, please go at so and so time. And we had an amazing response, and we had to increase beyond the Women's Day. It went on for 4 more days. This was the Women's Day distribution of the saris and bangles and all, which made them really happy. This is of another saying for UN that we are doing in Unity in Diversity. This is the summer camp again in 2016. So, okay, these are all. Then one year we gave them, we had an environmental workshop for them on one of the happiness event. And we had another actress friend who has an environmental NGO gift each one a kitchen plant of mint and ajwain, which is also one of the spices used in everyday cooking in India. These were the summary of what we did through COVID. We also started during the just closing, easing of the COVID times. We recently in December, along with this other organization, started local kitchens. So in 5 prominent places in the Mumbai suburbs, there are kitchens which are run by these women, and we help them set up, and we are funding the money till they become self-sufficient. And we got them BMC licenses to sell breakfast, lunch, and evening dinner for train goers. So we got them little stalls around key train stations, and they are selling food and earning their living now through that. We are in midst of creating a medical consortium of 5-6 organizations and hospitals which would support the medical facilities through our organization. And then these are little COVID pictures of the trucks and tempos. These are the oxygen concentrators that we donated. And then this is where our birthing of our Beloveds Aboard program was. So in March 22, we started called the MBCC, the Meher Baba's Children's Center. We have about 25 to 30 children now coming, and they are coming 5 days a week. We launched it on Dhuni Day, March 12th, which was also my anniversary of getting Baba's gift as from Bhauji as Roshni. And Jesse Masa, who is our honorary head for rural projects, education, and agriculture. He is the main person running the whole show over there. And they go to the Marathi school locally. And this is like an complementing part of their regular studies. And over and above that, for their hygiene, for their clothing, and otherwise learning and becoming a good human being. So we got them stationery, we've got them new clothes, we got them new sandals, we got donated with a laptop on which they see Baba videos and poems and children's songs, and they learn things. We have another loving Baba lover, Patrick, who is here with us, who before going back to US recently was there with us to spend time with the children. I will allow Caroline and Patrick to speak as well, and then come back to what more we are doing in Baba's Love in Meherabad. So, Patrick, are you there? You
How's
need to
my
unmute.
audio? Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect, perfect.
Oh, can you hear me? Okay, good. Yeah.
Yes, so
I'm
Patrick
good.
will share
How's
his
everybody
little
doing?
time with the kids that he's been spending, and of the few things that we've been doing there. Yes, Patrick.
Okay, sure. Yes. Let's see. I just found a quick quote. You mentioned quotes before, and I found one on the internet that I like. I think it's Rabindranath Tagore, and it's I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy. And so, yeah, this Meher Baba Children's Center in Arangaon, I just volunteered a few times before I left, and it's just so wonderful. The kids are amazing. They're so cute and adorable, and I know I don't think of it as service. I just think of it as fun and joyful sharing, and we watch videos about the learning the alphabet in Marathi and English, learning the numbers in Marathi and English. We have dance time, exercise time to Bollywood songs, and we'll just play with a ball on the ground, rolling the ball, maybe passing it along, counting the numbers, and let's see, some of Roshini's friends donated some tricycles recently, and we went shopping in Ahmednagar for school supplies, and it was just really wonderful to see all these things that they bought for the children. And yeah, the children are so happy, the staff is so happy, everybody is just joyful sharing Baba's love. So yeah, it's really beautiful.
So these are some of the pictures of love and joy at our Meher Baba's Children's Center. They all love Jesse Masa, and it is his last 3 decades, I think, of work with the villagers that gave the parents the trust to send their kids to the center, which is a very, very big important thing, because over there they might as well use the children for household chores and, putting them to send animals for grazing and so on. So for them to spare the children to come to the center for this new learning is Baba's grace. And thankful to Jesse for his love, concern and connection with the villagers that has helped us to bring these little angels into the center. So this was when we launched on Dhuni Day. We distributed new T-shirts and a whole lot of stationery and a packet of ration for their entire family, which could suffice them at least for a month. And this is at the center. Baba got us this wonderful new space where we have this large room, which is the main schooling and learning part, and with two smaller rooms, one which has the preschoolers doing all the fun jumbo things over there with their tricycles and scooty and balls, and the other one where you can see Patrick with the laptop, and we plan to teach the little elder ones something about computers and working on computers as well. That's Jesse with the kids, that's Patrick with the kids, and these are just few of the things. And now I will ask Caroline to speak as well, because Caroline goes twice a week to teach them yoga. Right, Caroline?
It's actually 3 times a week now.
3 times, okay. Lovely, yeah. Great, so we have increased.
Yoga has been hilarious. They really enjoy that, and they understand. They seem to understand very well what's going on. So if I show them something and then say, now we need to do it in the other direction, they swap their legs over and their arms over. Of course, very, very flexible. So they really enter into it. And their favorite posture is called the lion pose. And in that one, they have to make their hands into claws and stick their tongues out and then bow down with a ha-ha sound. So as soon as I start the yoga session, they start saying to me, no, we want to do the lion now. And I have to make them wait until they're about halfway through, and then we have it as the highlight. And I've been doing some games with them as well, and a bit of dancing. The Bais who help us are wonderful. They're all very lively. And then we have Mera, our teacher, who's with the bigger one.
This is, yeah. This is Mera on the left. And we have 2 teachers and 3 Bais who are there. So we also help them with hygiene and, day-to-day washing and things like that, so that they comply with that in their daily life too. And soon we are planning a medical and dental checkup for the kids as well.
Oh, and the jigsaw puzzles have been a huge success. They've just started that this week.
Yeah. So, and also we have a tie-up with another hospital in Ahmednagar, where Caroline goes twice a week to teach yoga to the cancer patients. So here is Caroline at the hospital with the cancer patients.
And I have a lovely sister called Lakshmi who translates for me, because I don't know enough Marathi to give instructions. So I give some in English and then she translates.
Lovely.
They're very good, these guys. They work hard with their yoga.
Yes. So, yes, through this we want to, create a sustainable module so that we can do more and more for the kids, to have a little computer center, so that, the elder ones can even get small jobs, clerical jobs, admin jobs in Ahmednagar, and surrounding areas. So, this is what we have been planning and wanting to do more and more. So we are now just creating the entire formatting of the monthly sustenance that we require for the module, and to enhance the module as we go along, and put it all together for a better life that we can give to people living at the sacred land. And because ultimately they are somewhere the future residents of that space as well, and if we can empower them, then we will never have to worry about wrongdoings. We'll never have to worry about petty things that people do due to poverty and so on, and also be able to help them get a better life, including the parents, who are living in very dilapidated conditions. And if we can give them a purpose to live for, if we can give them a reason to live for, and our programs, we are trying to do something on organic farming and agriculture as well, so that we can start involving the parents into the work too, and within food processing and such businesses where we could make them as partners and earn their due living through the progress that we can create for them and by them. So these are the plans, and otherwise every day something new is required somewhere, and we try to see, okay, do we have the means to do that? And even if we don't have the means, I will shoot out WhatsApp messages. We have this new kid who needs the support. Anybody who can support us, please let us know. So if support comes in, then we reach out and we pay the fees. So many times, like earlier when we didn't have the registration and so on, we would gather up friends who want to do it, and I would say, please pay the school directly. You don't need to pay me. Please pay the school directly, and the receipt and everything we provide for them, and we give it back to them from the school, so that everything is very crystal clear. There is clarity, there is honesty, there is love, there is transparency in anything that is created, and that is the biggest foundation of work that I feel, in anything that I feel to do. I feel there has to be, all cards have to be open, and we do it with, best intentions. And as Baba has said, it is the intent that counts at the end. And if we are doing how much ever charity or whatever, but with a different intent, a lot of times in India, charity means putting something in the temple box and all my sins are over. And I'm sure that is not charity as per Baba. So I will read something more, continuing from what Charles Haynes had written on mastery in servitude. In whatever he did, whether in the midst of intense activity or in deep seclusion, Meher Baba appeared to have a specific timetable and a definite plan for his work. He noted earlier he frequent sorry, one second. As noted earlier, he frequently arranged to be taken incognito to places where large numbers of people congregated in order to move silently through the crowds. Often, yeah. Often he went out of his way at times, traveling great distances to visit a specific spot or contact a particular individual unknown to all save Baba. There are countless stories about Meher Baba illustrating how his apparently random actions or sudden changes in plans turn out to be a part of some inner purpose. Typical of these accounts is an incident that occurred in Hamidpur during Baba's first visit to that remote district in India. After Baba agreed to visit Hamidpur, the people prepared for his coming by building roads and bridges so that his car could reach the rural villages. Apologies. While walking through one such village along the route carefully prepared for him by his hosts, Baba suddenly halted and asked to be taken another way. At first, his host objected, pointing out the many preparations along the planned route. Baba insisted, however, and began to lead the crowd to a remote area of the village. There he found and embraced an old couple who had faithfully readied their hut for days in order to make it worthy to receive the avatar. Although mocked by their neighbors and told that Baba would come nowhere near their hut, they had steadfastly maintained that he would find them. Overjoyed, they had Baba as a guest in their simple hut that had been so lovingly prepared for him. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. And that's how I feel Baba found them and Baba found us all to come together to realize this dream to do something in Meherabad. And in all the work that Baba has helped doing, it has almost been that, Baba has prepared all the things before he gave the thought in my heart or head. And he has put all the, Caroline just mentioned that they love the jigsaw puzzle. And I always feel Baba works the best with jigsaw puzzles. And he just brings all these pieces together as and how they are required, and they all fit in so seamlessly. And then we all start looking at the bigger picture and the image of what we have to do together with our love, with our strengths, with our unique diversity of strengths that we bring onto the table. And that's the beauty of Baba. So I just feel to just think that, Baba, I want to do something. Baba will bring to the mind's eye, to the heart, and intangible reality what we need to do. And it will be right in the face that, okay, now get along, do this. And he'll throw us into the waters, just like I know Westerners do to the young kids, and that's how they learn swimming. And Indian parents would never ever dare to do that. So yeah, Baba just throws us into the water. We would open the floor. Let's discuss some words of service from Baba, if anybody else, and anything else about service and love that anyone wants to share. Patrick, you want to share something? Anybody else? Gail, Marge, Diana, Marcia, Ralph. I don't know if Ralph is there. So yeah, we are open to all the support for the center in whichever way. We have Meher Hassan coming to teach them Baba songs and bhajans in Meherabad. And we have another friend from Ahmednagar who is also coming now, since Patrick is gone to US for some time. And then we are welcoming anybody who would like to donate few things at the center or give their time at the center to teach things to the children, spend time with them, teach them already what we are teaching and participate in that. So whichever way anyone wants to, contribute towards mindful service, we are open to that. Even in Mumbai, if there are any Baba lovers who want to do that, we are open to our programs. We are also starting a legal cell of our foundation, which is free legal advice, where our honorary legal head and advocates would be there. 2 or 3 of them would be there twice, 2 Sundays in a month. And they open-ended space where they would be there for 3 hours, and we would be advertising the location and things like that, where poor people can go and take legal advice for any of their matters, household matters, family feuds, divorce, whatever it could be, for example. And they would get legal advice. And if at all there is any strong case and they are really poor, and we need and we feel that we could represent and contest them, then our lawyers would even step up to do that case-to-case basis. So yes, please, anybody. Patrick, you want to share some more fun that you have with the kids? You need to unmute.
Yep, there we go. Yeah, they're just the sweetest little cutest kids. I'm just with the little kids in a different room, but yeah, they're so sweet, and they'll come up, and they're very short, of course, but they'll come up and hug your legs or something. And let's see, the Yeah, they love the dance of the Bollywood dance when we dance to a Bollywood song for exercise. And we have charts and books for teaching letters and words and uh, vegetables or animal names. There's another quote. It's from Chanji, and I think it's in the beginning of Norina's book. Um, Let me just see if I can find that. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, these words, they just stick out in my mind. Really sweet the way Chanji wrote this. What is but the greatest miracle of love that you have dedicated your very life and existence in the sacred cause of the beloved Lord, devoting every moment in his service for the spiritual regeneration of mankind, now in the throes of distress and destruction. No life could be better lived, no existence better spared, no love better expressed, no service better rendered. And that was Chanji writing to Norina, who's so close to Baba. But yeah, very inspiring words. And yeah, I just thank Baba for giving this opportunity to serve. And yeah, I think Carol and Jesse would say the same. It's just a joyful sharing, joyful opportunity that Baba's given us. So yeah, thank you so much, Baba and Roshni.
Yes. Thank you to Baba at every step, at every breath for all that he does each day, each moment. And Jesse is not there, but yes, thankful to all the human forms that Baba ultimately, as Baba in Words to Effect in one of the quotes, that he has to take, be working through human in the real world. And he works through all of us who do something or the other. Like during COVID, the Mehram 7, the brothers, Praveen and Prashant, did so much in Meherabad as well, of door-to-door grocery deliveries to the Meherabad residents, to the COVID vaccination door-to-door for the elders and others, and, providing food and ration to the poor at some of them. So there is so much that is just there. And I feel just, if each one of us can do one thing, we will help a lot of dissolving of poverty or suffering or anything. And as I said, it's not just about giving. Even with giving, even when we are supporting somebody, we are simultaneously trying to, if he doesn't have a job, then we're trying to see how he can get a job. If he's not skilled for a job, we will try to see how can he be skilled for the job, so that we can ultimately get him the job, so that he is not getting complacent and lazy to just get free things. So that's where I felt the words where Baba has said in the earlier quote that I read, that there is a very, very conscious way of doing charity also, which is somewhere required, that we are not kind of overstepping somebody's karma by making him further lazy and not letting him do something, or making him dependent on us completely by providing that. So we provide that, but at the same time we see how can I empower this person. So each one of us saying how can I empower one person will have multifolds of people who are into the main earning market of life, and who won't be needing obligations, and the ripple effect will create where they will be able to do the same for their children as well. So yeah, anyone else would like to share something, any Baba's words, quotes that could relate to the topic? Okay.
I just want to say thank you, Roshni. This is Gail. I'm so happy that you've taken this time to share with us your journey and adventure with Baba, who is in charge of the Roshni Foundation. Not you, as you would be the first to say. He is at the top of the leadership, but it's I had no idea things were so extensive. I found it very encouraging to see what you've done by listening and what you've done by partnering with others and by just loving the people in all kinds of ways. So this has been very motivational. So I'm glad you've done this. We wonder where Angela is, but just trust that something's okay, and she's
Yes, I really
okay with
hope so.
yeah,
I've
she's
been missing her.
but you've done a wonderful job as the
Yeah.
surprise. Instead of being a co-host, you're the host. But Baba puts us in those positions, and he gives us the strength and the power to carry on. So thank you.
Yeah, and that's how it was, this beautiful, again, jigsaw puzzle of Angela and me meeting through Noshirwan in August of 2020, and we were doing our satsangs, and the East-West gatherings came into being, and that's what thickened the plot, so to speak, of us coming closer. And I would just keep kind of messaging and sending WhatsApp messages, and that's how the entire COVID thing and so much of immense work just by creating that platform that she has done. So she may so many times I said, I've not done anything. I said, yeah, but Baba did through you to help, so it is compassion in action in whichever way. One thing is to feel sympathy about, oh, poor people, and the other thing is, and so I always tell in my mind, that sympathy is by itself, and it can keep putting people in an obligatory and a complacent spot, but compassion in action will always elevate people. And the entire thing of bringing together, because the understanding that I cannot do everything on my own, in no way in human capacity. And when that I goes away, then that I is born in so many other people that Baba clones himself and brings like-minded visions and thoughts and missions all together. And that's where the collaboration of compassion happens, and nothing can be achieved without that. And that's how the birthing of the organ, that I don't have money, but there are people, there are friends who are well intended, who want to do things. Why don't I reach out there and ask them to come to the platform? So the aspect of releasing that, like right now they all are in action, in Meherabad. I'm staying in Mumbai. I am on the virtual aspect of what the center is, and I feel thrill and the joy on our group every 2-3 days when pictures are being shared, and Jesse telling us, now this is happening, now that is happening, now so okay, now we wanted the doctors, we've got the doctor, and we've got the dentist, yay, Jai Baba, we've got this happening. So every day there is new excitement, but on ground Baba is working through them with the children. And I'm keeping on praying, Baba, release me from some duties in Mumbai that I can go over there. But maybe that is how it is, that we cannot do it may not be possible for me with a physical presence, but there are 50 other things that I can do with a non-physical presence, of bringing people together who can give physical time. So I feel there is nothing for anybody to ever say, what can I do? And that is my biggest learning in that we all can do something only if we open our hearts and receptive to what Baba wants us to do, and it'll present itself. So thank you to Angela for this platform. And as I said, this is one of the biggest service in his cause, the biggest charity. And, again, time is of crucial charity, which I tell everybody as well. All our friends, satsangi, students, clients who come. When somebody tells me, I need 10 minutes of you, they don't need 10 minutes of the clock. They may need 10 minutes of my involvement, of my soul, of my listening. So when somebody is giving you time, they're giving you life. This time is not going to come back. Money is coming from here or there. Money can come back. Money may not be there. Then it will come. But time will never come back. So I hold a lot of gratitude for people who give their time, for anything that we do. even if it is, they may have got absolutely no penny to spare. And I had a rickshaw wala driver who would come on phone call to me. And for 12 years, he passed away during COVID. And he has been doing great Baba work with me. For all these street children where we would go to distribute, he would be there with me and giving the packs and opening the boxes and doing things with me. And he would once a week feed samosa pound to some kids around his area. And I said, never ever, I would call him Yadav ji, and the Yadav ji, never ever say main kya kar sakta hu, because you can do it, whatever is in your capacity. And when we would have any camps or something, I would tell him, you go and spread the word in your slums. Now that is your service part, that is your duty. So Baba's love helps that I may not be able to go, and of course can't be there in every physical space. But Baba will come in some form or the other and bring that form to collaborate and say, okay, now do it. And that's the beauty of love and coming together in Baba's love. And if it would not be for all the support from so many Baba lovers during COVID and all our other, earlier friends and patrons, we would not have been able to do this humongous work. Like we are an organization who at any given point does not have 1.5 lakh more in our bank. So it's not a great funding organization where there is parked amount. Whatever we got, we were keeping on spending during COVID, and it was constantly in rotation for what needed to be done, what needed to be procured, what needed to be got. And every time, so many times my CA would say that, okay, wait, hold on, then the next part. I said, no, the need is now. What is the use of a doctor after death? I said, money will keep coming. For new projects, Baba will bring new money. Don't worry. Right now, whatever is coming for this. It needs to be spent for this. And we just kept on rotating that at every given point in time. And we still are. Whatever trickling effects of COVID are still there right now. Again, cases have risen to an extent. And the villagers still need support. So we are carrying that on in whatever small way that we can. And thankful to Baba for making it all happen. Without his hand of love, not even a leaf moves. So yeah, it's all him. Yeah. Caroline, any lovely quote you want to share? Anyone, any lovely quote and words of Baba that you would like to share that you remember? Yes, Rosalie, are you there? I can see your hand up, but you've not been there around the screen.
I think her hand up is from the past, and I'm no longer the host.
Ah,
So
oh,
it's from
okay,
Artie.
because I had put it down.
Time.
Okay.
Yeah, you can put it down. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let me read some more words of Baba. Mm-hmm. To love God in the most practical way is to love our fellow beings. If we feel for others in the same way as we feel for our own dear ones, we love God. If instead of seeing faults in others, we look within ourselves, we are loving God. If instead of robbing others to help ourselves, we rob ourselves to help others, we are loving God. If we suffer in the sufferings of others and feel happy in the happiness of others, we are loving God. If instead of worrying over our own misfortunes, we think ourselves more fortunate than many, many others, we are loving God. If we understand and feel that the greatest act of devotion and worship to God is not to hurt or harm any of His beings, we are loving God. To love God as He ought to be loved, we must live for God and die for God, knowing that the goal of life is to love God and find Him as our own self. Meher Baba. and the other titled Love and Prayer. People pray to me to solve their difficulties, saying that they love me. But there is a vast difference between love and prayer. In Persian, to pray means to beg, to want, to desire something, even the blessings of God. But when a person really loves, he gives himself over to his beloved completely. This is true love, in that there is no begging, no wanting, and no room for desires. Only the longing to unite with the beloved remains. Love means the renunciation of the self. Prayer means selfishness, no matter how high the prayer may be. So there is a vast difference between when one prays and when one loves. Meherabad. The desire to share with everyone would produce a condition in which it would be a disgrace rather than an honor for anyone to possess more than anyone else. How deeply profound and hitting this is. The desire to share with everyone would produce a condition in which it would be a disgrace rather than an honor for anyone to possess more than anyone else. Wow. And coming to the crux of it, as Baba says, no amount of prayer or meditation can do what helping others can do. And I think that could be the biggest line for me to just remember to do anything, in Baba's love. Okay, all right. Let's see, there's a video. Maybe I could play that video.
Roshani,
Yes.
I would like to share something that seems directly related to your work and your enthusiasm, which was Baba himself on tour in April 4th, 1947. It, Baba had addressed a gathering of people at a school in Madras, and there were students, teachers, and people from the municipality and surrounding area who weren't directly part of the school were present. And this is one page. I was trying to get around, like, just give a synopsis, but it's a little difficult. It's pretty much to the point. This is what Baba said to the group there. He said, literacy is not education, and education is not culture. And all these cumulatively do not represent gnosis, knowledge, which stands in a class by itself, independent of any concomitant factors. Literacy and ignorance invite exploitation. Literacy also becomes a willing tool in the hands of those who exploit. Education devoid of culture is inherently destructive, although it apparently simulates advancement and progress, since all types and classes of people have claimed culture for their political and material greatness. Culture with them is a vague and indefinable something. But true culture is the result of spiritual values assimilated in life. The student world of India, therefore, while evolving morally and mentally, must keep before their mind's eye the unfoldment and development of their intrinsic spiritual culture, which, once developed, imparts life and beauty to all undertakings, education, technical, industrial, social, moral, and political, and gives a unifying effect to their differences. This is what is termed as the highest character for a nation or an individual. There is an unquestionable equality about all men in the flesh, yet no two men are alike. In spite of the one sun that shines upon the one world, the sunshine is not the same all over the world. Men are just the same everywhere, in their hopes and in their fears. Yet at the moment, one is opposed to the other. Day by day, things are getting darker and darker. That by itself should make thinking people hasten their preparations to receive a sudden outburst of light that will very soon dissipate all darkness. The cleaner the reflector, the more brilliant will be the reflection. Love for God, love for fellow beings, love of service, and love of sacrifices. In short, love in any shape and form is the finest give and take in existence. Ultimately, it is love that will bring about the much desired universal leveling of human beings all over the world without necessarily disturbing the inherent diversities of details about mankind. It is infinitely better to hope for the best than to fear the worst. Time is as much made out of the nights as out of the days. The world is fast approaching a glorious dawn once again in its inevitable course of ups and downs. My blessings to you all. At the end, Jaap.
Wow, that was so powerful, Ralph. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll read one more from the Silent Teachings of Meherabad by Noshirwan Anzar on selfless service. Selfless service is unaffected by results. It is like the rays of the sun that serve the world by shining alike on all creation, on the grass in the field, on the birds in the air, on the beasts in the forest, on all mankind, on saint and sinner, rich and poor, strong and weak, wholly impervious to their attitude or reaction. It is of vital importance, however, that service, though utterly selfless, be guided by spiritual understanding, for even selfless service unintelligently handled often creates complications and chaos. To, a, to be a pure blessing to humanity, the most selfless act of service must be born of absolute understanding of life and governed by faultless wisdom. Selfless service consists in rendering service to others with no thought of gain, reward, or result. It is free from the thought of placing others under obligation. In serving a fellow human being in the spirit of spontaneous, selfless love, one does not put him under obligation. On the contrary, the one helped confers upon the helper the blessing of an opportunity to serve his own true self. There is complete disregard of one's own convenience or welfare in selfless service. It is characterized by absolute subjugation of one's own happiness. by unalloyed joy in sacrificing everything for the well being of others. In selfless service, the comfort of others is one's convenience, their health, one's healing, their happiness, one's delight. Giving one's life for others, one gains glorious life for oneself. Sheltering others in one's heart makes one inhabit theirs. An act of helplessness, a word of comfort. Sorry. An act of helpfulness, a word of comfort, the spontaneous warmth of selfless love, give to others what they greatly need. Their thoughts of gratitude and goodwill, the heightened surge of their spirit, and the increased flow of God love released by the selfless act bring to the giver infinitely more than he can ever give. Service performed after realization of the divine law of the universe is a spontaneous expression of spiritual understanding. It is rooted in full comprehension of the true nature of the self. Though it is followed by important results in the objective world, it is in no way affected or complicated by craving for such results. The sun shines because it is its nature to do so, not out of any ambition to achieve something by it. The God realized person lives a life of spontaneous self offering, prompted by the heart of the divine reality with which he knows himself to be one, not out of longing to achieve anything for himself. The God conscious do not seek enrichment through attainments, for having realized the infinite, they are already established in the divine sufficiency of the universe. Selfless service reaches its acme in the God realized Master. The perfect Master serves the whole universe out of the finality of his infinite consciousness. Those who serve the Master or submit to his guidance share in his universal work. Their service has the advantage of the Master's wisdom and insight. Willing participation in the work of the Master not only enhances the value of the disciple's service, but also creates most favorable opportunities for spiritual enlightenment. In importance, service originating in the instructions of the Master is second only to the service rendered by the Master himself. Selfless service is a road that leads to God. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Would anybody else like to share anything?
Jai Baba. It is awe-inspiring. Your work is very awe-inspiring. Unbelievable. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Any other quote before we end? Okay. So I will share and we'll end with the Meher Dhun and the Australian Aarti to our glorious one. And thank Baba for everything, every moment, every breath. And may Baba always be Nigeban. May he watch over us and help us to hold on to his Daman till the very end. I thank you all for being there and sharing in his love of whatever Baba is helping us to do in whichever way, and make this existence worthwhile till the time that we are there on this wonderful planet amidst all such heartful, forms of Baba that he has brought in our life. Thank you, Baba. And Angela, miss you a lot. Please come before we end.
Jai Baba.
Baba, Meher 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 Baba.
अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय।
O glorious, eternal, ancient one, your face is a bright, transcendental sun. Lighten this dark world and the tears I weep. My heart, Meher, I give to you to keep. Creator, yet creationless you are. Truth and truth's body, divine avatar. Through compassion, the three worlds maintain. Destroy this ignorance that life sustains. These five lights are the whirling spokes of breath of the world's wheel that bears me unto death. Unless you are infinitely kind, break the wheel of which is conditioned mind. This incense is my love, these fruits my art, which to please you I have shaped from my heart. Accept them as you would a simple flower that has no use beyond its shining hour. You are myself, I sing to you in praise, and beg your love to bear me through the day. Till you, the ever-living perfect one, illuminate my darkness with your shining sun.
Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. We'll have 1 minute of silence. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. We can all unmute and say Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai 3 times.
Avatar Meher Baba Ki
Baba
Jai.
Ki Jai.
Avatar
Avatar Meher
Meher Baba
Baba Ki
Ki
Jai.
Jai.
Avatar Meher
Meher
Baba
Baba
Ki
Ki
Jai.
Jai.
Thank you, Baba, and thank you, each of you. Thank you so much for being there
Thank you,
and
Vash.
holding this space of love in Baba's love.
Jai Baba.
Baba. Jai Baba Yasmin Auntie.
Jai Baba Dikra, Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Jai Baba Roshni.
Jai Baba Patrick. Thank you so much. Jai Baba Caroline.
Jai
Jai
Baba.
Baba.
Good night.
You're doing wonderful things. I'm amazed, So glad to hear all that.
Thank you, Marsha. Thank you, Baba, for helping
Jai
us.
Baba.
Jai Baba Rita Auntie.
Jai
Jai
Baba.
Baba. Jai Baba. Patrick is the fondest uncle with Jesse for all the kids, for all the fun things that he makes them do. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye, Marcia. See you. Good day and good luck.
Bye, bye, bye,
Good
bye.
night and good luck. Bye, Ma. Bye. Bye.
Jai Baba. Thank you, Roshan.